So I found an excuse to do some more welding. Well, today is a not incredibly cold day, but I will say the wind this morning is really cold, which is why I'm all bundled up and such. So we'll see. As today goes on, I may be able to remove a layer or two. But about 2 weekends ago, I was out here putting up gates. And the gates that I'm using up by the barn are a little bit heavier than the gates in the rest of the pasture. The rest of those are just regular economy pasture gates. The ones up here by the barn, though, are bull gates. They're heavier. They're meant for crowding, so that if I need to herd cattle up here, be able to push them against it for loading into a trailer or something like that. I wanted these to be a bit stronger. I also wanted them to be a little bigger. The rest of the gates I used are 14s. These are 16s. So just a little more room to get in and out, since these are the ones that are going to get the most use up here by the barn. The problem with that is the gate hardware that I've been using for the rest of the gates on the fence is just simply not strong enough to hold these. It may not be that incredibly easy to see in the picture, but this actually bent the minute that the gate tries to open. The minute I try to open it, either bends it or it'll actually just shift it around the post. Now, I think the reality is if I had used this gate hardware on a larger post, I think they make it for at least 3-inch, maybe 4, then it might have been okay. But the reality is, these are the posts I got. This is what I got to hook it to. So thought of, a couple different ways of doing this, but eventually I landed on, hey, I have a welder, so why not use it? To make that happen, spent the last week of whatever free time I had making 4 of these. This is a piece of 3-inch steel square tube, 1/4-inch wall. And it's definitely heavier than it needs to be. Honestly, 1/8-inch wall would have been fine, but overkill is underrated, so why not? In either case, take that piece of square tube, put a 2 3/8 hole through it one direction so that it'll slip over the post, and then a 3/4 hole in it the other direction to take the hinge for the gate. So the idea here is we're going to get these taken off. We'll get the post wire brushed down so that we have a nice surface to weld to. I got to take this off temporarily, and then we'll get these put on. We'll get them welded in place. Then we'll put this back on and put our gate up, and hopefully everything works. So let me get these off and get going. All right, so we got it mostly taken down, the majority of the rust off. I'm not trying to make this perfect or anything like that, and let's face it, I can't make pretty welds to begin with. So I think it'll be enough. This is actually pretty tight on here. I know it jiggles just a little, but it's actually fairly tight. So just a little bit of weld to, hold it in will be enough, but I think I'm probably gonna go all the way around. So I'm gonna get magnet out, hold it in place, and then we'll get the welder and get started. Well, there you have it. Most of it is what we'll call gorilla weld. Again, I'm sure the professional welders are laughing hysterically at me, but I'm pretty confident it'll hold. Again, all it really needs to do is keep the piece of square tube where it is and keep it from turning. However, I would like to just say that some of this last piece I did was almost respectable. Almost. Anyway, good enough. Let's get the gate hooked up and get moving. Well, there we have it. Our 16-foot gate is in. I got one more of these to do. Adjusting these hinge pins when they're in these brackets is so much easier than it was with the previous hardware, because the previous one only held it at one point in the middle, whereas this you've got 2 points of contact, so it stays really easily even when it's loose, and you can just shift it back and forth with the bolts really easily. So that's really nice. You'll also notice that I put the hinge pin on this side of the fence, not the other side. That's because the barbed wire is going to be on the other side. So when you come in to do any adjustment, it'll be a little bit easier on this side. Hopefully, we'll see. And they do, when I put the barbed wire in, it does tend to move things just a little bit when I tighten it up. So I'll probably adjust them right after that. But either way, I'm pretty happy with it. It's nice and stable. I'm pretty confident I could chin myself on it and life would be good. So that's all I ask of it. Just stay there. So anyway, that's it. I'm really hoping I'm going to be able to call this fence done soon. And once I do, I'll go through kind of what I learned and what I would do differently if I did it again. And we'll see. In either case, until next time, we'll see you later.